There's a moment that so many people dread: stepping on the scale. For some, it can send their entire day into a complete downward spiral. That number can carry years, sometimes even decades, of emotion, identity, and pressure. It feels like it's defining you sometimes. But that number, all it is data. In this episode, I want to help you redefine your relationship with the scale. This isn't about ignoring reality. It's about understanding what the number really means and what it doesn't mean. Whether the scale has been a source of frustration, shame, or obsession, I want to help you shift from emotional reactivity to emotional empowerment. All right, you guys, this is an episode that I have wanted to do for a long time. I feel like I've brushed on the topic in a number of episodes in the past, but it's been a while since I've touched on it, and today I want to dive fully into it, and that's your relationship with the scale. There's going to be a lot of different angles that I come at this from. More than anything, I hope this episode helps you in some way. The number on the scale is not for me to tell you how to handle. However, I would like to provide some differing perspectives on different ways, different approaches, different mindset shifts that might be able to help you. I think one of the things that maybe bugs me the most is when I see on social media the throw the scale away, don't step on it, it doesn't tell the full story, you should never look at it at all. I understand where those people are coming from, and I appreciate the empathy with which those people sometimes come from with regards to that message, but I don't think that's the right way to approach it. And the reason why I don't think it's the right way to approach it is because avoidance of something does not help your relationship with that particular thing. And I think your relationship with the scale is just like your relationship with anything else that you have a relationship with, right? If you have a relationship with your significant other or a family member, and there is some tension between you, what happens if you avoid that topic? Does it get better? No, you're just brushing it under the rug. And look, if you never have to see that person again, maybe it's okay because that topic never has to come up again. But if it's something like someone like your significant other or a family member, brushing it under the rug just escalates the emotional baggage that's going to come with it and the emotional baggage that will come out at some point in the future. So avoidance of a problem is not the solution to a problem. It's just sweeping it under the rug for heightened escalation in the future. And so I don't think that's the right approach. That being said, the number on the scale does not tell the whole story. And we're going to get a lot into this. But look, the number on the scale has a lot of history for a lot of people. Whether it's annual physicals, stepping on the scale one time a year. Maybe it's you played sports growing up and your coach or your parents told you had to weigh a certain amount because to play that particular sport. Media obviously talks about the number on the scale a decent amount. Culture reinforces that we need to look a particular way. A lot of women have been told that they need to look smaller and they need to, quote, eat less. A lot of times guys tie their self-worth and their confidence levels on whether or not they look lean or look strong. So look, the number on the scale, I know it brings different baggage for every single person. And this is not going to solve all the problems, but I hope to offer you some tools to help reframe maybe some of the baggage that you might have, or even if you don't have baggage, maybe just a way to reframe it in a more positive spin and some next steps to be able to move forward with. Because I know that a lot of people, maybe with playing sports growing up, were told they had to weigh a particular amount. I've heard from girls before being told that their coaches that they either need to be bigger or they need to be smaller. Both can lead to some unhealthy relationships with the number on the scale. And honestly, one of the toughest things about this conversation is that every personality is so different. A number of episodes ago, I had on the former Tennessee Titans cheerleader, Stacey Kinder, and she was old school. She was like, look, my relationship with this topic is I'm a former Tennessee Titans cheerleading coach, and to be a cheerleader, you do need to look a particular way. That is part of the job. And she was like, when I was growing up, I went to college. My mom came back and told me, hey, you've gained a few pounds. You need to lose that. She took that and was like, okay, I'm going to be accountable for this, and I'm going to lose the weight that my mom says I need to lose. And that didn't seemingly lead to any kind of negative relationship with the scale. However, if a different person's mom says that exact same thing to a different girl, that person could be in a downward spiral and could lead to poor eating behaviors, poor mental self-confidence and things of that. So I do think that what I'm going to try to get to today is to provide you with different ways to look at this to hopefully find one that aligns with your personality. Because some people are going to listen to that episode and love it and be like, you know what? Yes, the body positivity movement, I'm not about it. Because that's what she talked about. She talked about like the body positivity movement. A lot of people say like, no matter what you look like, you're good. No matter what you look like you're fine. You should love your body however it is. And again, I think certain people, maybe with that body positivity movement, are coming from a good spot. However, I will say that like, that's not the reality of the situation, in the sense of if you look a particular way and you don't feel good in your skin and somebody tells you you should feel good in your skin even though you don't feel good, that's not going to help you, because you're like, I know you're saying I should feel good, but I don't feel good. So like, that doesn't match up. And so sometimes that's not helpful for a lot of people. And so let's go ahead and kind of get into it today before I dive into some of these like specific mindset shifts, reframes, things of that nature. If you are interested in joining the 10-week transformation, we're starting October 6th and we go through December 12th. This is the last 10WT of the calendar year of 2025. Would love to have you in it. Would love to kick ass with you during the end of this 2025 and make it a great launching pad and launching point to go into 2026 looking and feeling your best. You can go to nickcarrier.com/10WT. At this 10-week transformation, we were going to go over the 1,000 people doing the 10WT mark. So super excited about that. nickcarrier.com/10WT. Let's talk about it. Okay, the truth about the scale. One of the first things that I want to get across to you is like, you are not your weight. The scale, you are not your weight. Let's stay there before we move on. Oftentimes people self-identify with the number that pops up on the scale. And I understand why some people self-identify as that, because that's something that gets talked about a lot. And we are oftentimes taught that your identity is oftentimes wrapped up in how you look. But that's the same thing when people get wrapped up in identifying with the amount of money that they have in their bank account, identifying with just their job, identifying with just their relationship. Like, you can't self-identify by one small thing. You need to identify with who you are as a person based off of things like your integrity, how you show up for yourself, whether or not you're a person of your word, how you show up for other people, how you show up for your loved ones, like more like how you show up, your honesty, your integrity, your character, all these sorts of things. That's like what your identity should be wrapped up in. So the first thing I wanted to say is that you are not the number on the scale. And if you are identifying with that number wholly, like, that is part of who you are. There's no doubt that is part of who you are, but it can't be something that completely engrosses how you view yourself. So number one, you are not your weight. And number two is like the most obvious one of all, is that the scale is not a full picture of your health. Not only is it not a full picture of like your weight, because when you just step on the scale, it's not telling you your body fat percentage. It's not telling you your muscle mass. It's not telling you any of that stuff. And so that is number one. Like, for me, for example, my weight based off of my height, if I'm looking at BMI, then it's going to tell me I'm obese, just because I have more muscle on my body than maybe somebody who typically does of my height. And so the weight on the scale does not tell the full story. You need more of like your body fat percentage by doing an in-body scan or something like a DEXA scan to give you more of a full picture of what's actually your body makeup is, your body composition makeup is. And then also, it's not only not telling you the full picture of your body composition, but it's not giving you nearly the full picture of your overall health, right? Like your self-confidence, your energy levels, your strength levels, whether or not you're getting better sleep, your better digestion, improved blood work, whether or not you're being consistent in your habits. Like, one of those things that we talk a lot about in the 10-week transformation is you need to define success across a wider breadth of metrics. So in the 10-week transformation, we do performance tests. We see how many pull-ups you can do, push-ups, your bench press, your squat, your deadlift, a carry test, a core test, and a cardio test. We do all these things because that gives you a wide picture of like, okay, what is my fitness level across all the different things that constitute as fitness and constitute as being healthy and being somebody who's fit. I'm not just saying, hey, everybody in the 10-week transformation step on the scale. Whatever that number says determines whether or not you're healthy and determines whether or not you've been successful. No, that's not the way to do it. You can't have a narrow definition of success in health and fitness. You need a breadth. You need more width to your definition of success. And so your off the scale wins, like whether or not you're being consistent, whether or not you choose to order something different at a restaurant. Like there's so many different off the scale wins that are not just things that I'm like trying to be nice about. I'm not just saying like, oh, don't worry about the number on the scale. Like you're being a lot more consistent. So like, good for you. I'm going to give you a pat on the back. No, like that actually is a huge win. And that is more of a win in my eyes than anything else. Like the consistency of your habits is more of a win than anything else. Next thing I want to say with regards to the number on the scale is like, if you're up a few pounds, if you're like scared to step on the scale, like if you're standing next to the scale, thinking about stepping on it, but you're scared to step on it. And let's say you're a few pounds heavier than you would have wanted or you would have expected. Like what's the worst that could happen? It's not failure. It's just feedback. It's just a snapshot of a moment in time of where you currently are. It's feedback based off of maybe what you've done over the last couple of weeks, couple months, couple years, couple decades. And so it's just telling you where you are today, but you can start changing the story and changing the narrative and tomorrow. And so I think oftentimes when we step on the scale, we think like finality. We think like that's where I'm at. But that is a number that can change based off the consistency of your habits. Another thing that I wanted to mention with the number on the scale is like the fluctuations of the number on the scale are real due to things like water, food volume, whether or not you've gone to the bathroom, your bowel movements, whether or not you've gained muscle. Like obviously fat mass has a part of it. Your hormones play a role, etc. So like, listen to what I'm about to say. If you're somebody who has the goal of weight loss and you can get to the place where weighing on the scale every day is something that you can do, that's going to be the most accurate and scientific way to see what's going on. Now, I know everybody's relationship with the scale is different. And so when I'm coaching people in the 10-week transformation and they have a weight loss goal, I make sure to talk with them about this. Like, hey, I want to let you know, the most accurate and scientific way to go about this is to weigh every single day for 7 days and take an average weekly weight. And do that every single week and compare your average weekly weight. Why is that most important? One, because it accounts for fluctuations. On Wednesday, when it goes up a little bit for no apparent reason, and then on Friday, when it comes back down, like you catch all the fluctuations and you get more of an accurate depiction of what's going on with that number. I can't tell you how many times I have had people who weigh every single day and I look at their scoreboards and I look at their weigh-ins. If they only weighed one time a week, they would think they're never making progress. But when you look at your averages and you actually saw that you lost 0.7 pounds over the course of the entire week, then you actually know you made progress. If you only weigh one time and you're not even going to the 10th of a pound and you're just weighing sometimes here on Sunday and sometimes here on Monday, and then the next time you do it on Sunday again and the next time you do it on Thursday again, you are going to have no idea of whether or not you're making progress. And so, that being said, if you weigh every single day, the goal behind that and the reason behind that is accuracy. And you actually have an idea of what's going on with your body composition. Because if you lose a ton of weight overnight or gain a ton of weight overnight, that's not a gain of fat mass or a loss in fat mass or a gain in muscle mass or a loss in muscle mass. Because losing body fat and losing muscle mass or gaining either of those takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. So if you lose a lot overnight, then it might be because of water weight. It might be because of your bowel movements. It could be because of hormones. It could be your time of the month, right? There's a lot of different reasons why things might happen. So you start to understand why the number might go up and down. And so you understand those things, and that provides you with a better relationship when you understand something. I think I'm going to go to that point now is when you avoid something, you understand it less. If I want to get better at my money habits, if I just don't look at my bank account and don't look at where my expenses are, don't see how much money I'm making, am I going to be able to improve my money habits? No, because I understand it less. You need to be able to grasp something more, learn something about it more. And then once you feel like you can grasp it and you learn more about it, you feel like you have more control and ownership over whatever that is that you are looking at and trying to learn about. One of the things I wanted to get into was the analogy of the bank account. I think I already, so the number on the scale is similar to your bank account in a lot of different ways. Like, a lot of people define their happiness or success off of the number on the bank account. It's like, don't be doing that. Same thing with the number on the scale. Don't be doing that. The other thing is, a lot of people think that if they have more money in the bank, all of their problems are going to be solved. It's like, do you know somebody who has a lot of money in the bank and is very unhappy? You probably do. Are all your problems going to be solved just because you have a lot of money? No. Are all your problems going to be solved just because you're lean or you're, quote, skinny, or you, quote, look the way you want to look? No. People who are fit still have plenty of problems. People who have a lot of money still have plenty of problems. So the reason why I bring up all this is people know that it's not smart to avoid looking at the bank account. But a lot of people think it's smart to not look at the number on the scale. And to think about it, not looking at your bank account in the moment saves you from pain and frustration in the moment. If the number doesn't look like what you want it to look like. If it looks great, then it'll provide you with happiness in the moment. But like, let's say you're avoiding opening up your bank account because you know it's going to provide you with pain and frustration and anxiety. Not opening up your bank account saves you from that pain and frustration and anxiety in the moment. But it just builds up the pain, frustration, and anxiety that you will experience when you inevitably have to open up your bank account in the future. Same thing with the number on the scale. Not stepping on it now might eradicate the potential pain, frustration, or anxiety that might come from stepping on a scale now. But at some point, you're going to have another annual physical. At some point, you'll probably need to step on the scale. And if you don't do it over the course of a year, 2 years, 3 years, you're going to have no idea what that number is going to be. And so the pain, anxiety, frustration only has the ability to mount, only has the ability to build between now and then. Another thing I wanted to say in terms of the number on the scale is alcohol and its effects on the scale. One of the things that have found fascinating, both through me stepping on the scale more regularly over the last couple of years and my clients having them step on the scale more regularly, is that everybody's body and how the scale responds to alcohol might be a little bit different. Oftentimes what I found is that the day after you drink alcohol, it doesn't show up on the scale, but it might be 2 days after or maybe even 3 days after where it reflects on the scale. Now, I'm not exactly going to be able to give you the exact reasons why that is. There probably is exact reasons with regards to like dehydration and some sort of water retention and stuff like that, but I'm not going to get into that today. But so just to give you that little like heads up that how alcohol can affect it, maybe not the next day, but the couple days after, or a few days after. Another thing that I want to get into with the relationship on the scale is setting realistic expectations. I have had too many clients over the years tell me that over like 4 weeks into the 10-week transformation and they've lost 3.5 pounds and they think, man, what is going wrong? And I'm like, what do you mean? What's going wrong? You are actually seeing great progress. Like, you've lost 3.5 pounds in 4 weeks. Did you know that the recommended weekly weight loss is 0.5 pounds to 1.5 pounds per week? 0.5 pounds to 1.5 pounds per week. So if you're anywhere close to 1 pound per week, that is fantastic. And so I think that oftentimes people think that they should lose 2 pounds per week every single week, or they're not making progress, or that things aren't moving. It's like, no, that's not the case at all. So we need to make sure we have realistic expectations. Therefore, when reality starts to play itself out, our emotions align with what the expectation really should be and not some unrealistic expectation. When it comes to setting a weight loss goal, let's transition to this next. When it comes to setting a weight loss goal, I would say if you want to lose weight, setting a weight loss goal is definitely something you should do, obviously. But like I mentioned earlier, it should not just be about weight loss. It should be about other things as well. Also focus on your ability to do push-ups. That's why in the 10-week transformation, we have performance tests. Like, focus on your ability in other areas of health as well, other signs of progress, because when you have multiple different things that can be evidence to you that you're making progress and that you're getting quote results, then you're more likely to continue going. But if you only have one thing, and if that needle is not moving, then I'm going to quit. If that needle is not moving, I'm going to be frustrated. If that needle is not moving, then I'm going to lose my motivation. Then you're more likely to quit. And like, look, sometimes weight loss does take time. Sometimes weight loss just, you need to keep pounding and pounding and pounding and pounding and pounding and pounding and pounding, and finally the needle moves. Sometimes that's the case. And so if you have other needle movers, if you have other indicators that you're making progress, other indicators of results, then that'll keep you going and allow you to stay more consistent over time. So, and then I would say one of the last parts about this, or that I want to mention in today's episode, is we want to shift our identity from not becoming the person who weighs a certain amount, but becoming the type of person who follows through with the promises that you make to yourself. Results should be part of our motivation in health and fitness, but it should be maybe 10% of the purpose of why we show up, or maybe 20 or maybe 30% of the purpose of why we show up to the gym and push ourselves physically. But if it's the sole purpose as to why we show up consistently, then your consistent habits are not going to persist over the long haul. We need to make sure that 70 or 80 or 90% of the reason why you show up to the gym consistently is because of the type of person that you wish to become. It's because you want to reinforce to yourself that you're the type of person who is going to prioritize your health. You're the type of person who wants to willingly submit themselves to physical discomfort for the sake of growth. You want to be the type of person who says they're going to do something and then you do it. If you show up to the gym solely for the results, solely for the carrot at the end of the stick, you're never going to be as consistent as you could be if you're showing up to the gym to become a type of person. So shift your reason to be an identity reason, to be the type of person, to be a badass guy, to be a badass woman who pushes themselves physically on a regular basis. I hope you guys have enjoyed today's episode. I hope it's helped you in some way, shape, or form. I'm looking at my notes here to see if there's anything else that I want to go over. I think I just want to finish again with, this isn't body positivity conversation for the sake of being passive. This is about responsibility. Your self-worth has nothing to do with the number on the scale. Your self-worth is God-given. God made you. You're a child of God. God made you, put you on this earth for a reason, and he loves you no matter how you look. But there's no question that if you look good, if you feel good, if you feel energized, if you're happy inside of your body, you're going to be able to live out your God-given purpose to a hell of a lot greater degree than if you didn't feel good inside of your body and you lacked energy and you lacked confidence. And so don't let this episode is not meant to be like, if you don't look a particular way or weigh a particular number, then you're worthless, right? Then you suck. Like, obviously that's not the case. But you're going to feel a whole lot better if your number on the scale represents health and is something that something that allows you to live your life with energy. Because living your life with high levels of energy, whatever that means for you, will allow you to live out your God-given purpose to a hell of a lot greater degree than if you didn't have great energy. And again, I think the last thing, I feel like I've said the last thing a few times, but before the last thing, you should join the 10-week transformation. Come on, baby. Let's go. Last one of 2025. You can go to nickcarrier.com/10WT to join us. You can join us here in person in Nashville, or you can join us virtually as well. You can go to nickcarrier.com/10WT. Would love to have you. Principally speaking, when you avoid something, your relationship with that thing does not get better. It gets worse over time. And the severity of the emotional reaction that will come later will be greater in the future than if you just handled it in the short term, if you just handled it here in the moment. So avoidance is not the answer. Staring it in the face, owning it, then being responsible and accountable for it and doing something about it is the name of the game. I hope something here today allows you to use it as a tool, allows you to reshape or reframe what that number on the scale means for you, because I know a lot of us have a lot of baggage with that number, and it's tough. And just by listening to this episode doesn't mean it's going to heal overnight. You're not going to heal your relationship with the scale overnight, but you've put in a lot of hard work and you implement some of these tools, you implement some of these reframes, some of these mindset shifts. I promise and I believe that it will get better. And if you want to do the 10-week transformation so that I can help you heal your relationship with the scale further, I hope to do so, then go to nickcarrier.com/10WT. Remember, it's not a measure of your worth. It's not a definition of who you are. It's just data. That's it. So whether you weigh daily, weekly, or not at all, it's your choice. It's your choice. Use it wisely. I hope today helps you get closer to the healthiest version of yourself. And ultimately, I hope today helps you get closer and closer to your best you.